This is the best fairy tale short story for kids. Once, there was an old farmer who lived in a village with his 3 sons. All 3 of them were young and handsome. The farmer was proud of his sons. Once, he thought that it was time for them to get married. They had a family tradition to find a bride. Take an axe and cut a tree in our farm. See where the tree falls and search for your bride in that direction. But before cutting a tree, you should plant one in the farm and promise me to take good care of it, said the father. The 3 sons agreed and obeyed their father. Each one of them planted a tree first and then cut one. The eldest son cut a tree that fell into the north direction. The second son cut a tree which fell to south. The youngest son's tree fell in the direction of the jungle. His elder brothers laughed at him and made fun of him. All the 3 brothers started their journey. The elder son went to the girl in the north and proposed to the girl he always loved. She accepted his proposal at once. The second son went to the south and proposed to his girlfriend for marriage. She readily said yes to him. Vaiko went to the jungle and walked a long way, but he couldn't find any human. He was disappointed and tired, too. So, he looked for a shelter and found a small hut in the jungle. Vaiko was surprised to see it. There was nobody present but a mouse. Vaiko told the whole story to the mouse, but the mouse told him that he would not find any girl in this jungle. The little mouse presented herself to be Vaiko's bride. She started convincing Vaiko. She danced for him and sang a beautiful song for him. The tired Vaiko was well entertained by the mouse. As the dance and song were over, the mouse waited for Vaiko's decision. She was looking at him lovingly. "I'll take you as my sweetheart," said Vaiko. The mouse was very happy to know this. She promised him that she would wait for him until he returns. All the 3 brothers had returned home. All the brothers described their sweethearts to their father. The elder brothers again made fun of Vaiko, but he didn't mind at all. A few days passed by and their father decided to put the brides to a test. He called his sons and said, "I want to take a test of all the brides. Request them to bake a loaf for me." Both the elder brothers agreed, but Vaiko was silent. He was worried, for he knew that a mouse cannot bake a loaf. He went to the jungle. The mouse was very pleased to see him. Vaiko looked worried and told her about the kitchen test. She immediately jumped down and rang a small silver bell thrice. Listening to the sound, hundreds of mice came out from nowhere. The mouse ordered, "Each of you fetch me a grain of finest wheat." To Vaiko's surprise, all the mice vanished. When they returned, they had a grain of fine wheat with them. Collecting those grains, the mouse baked a beautiful loaf of wheat bread. All the 3 brothers took the loaf to their father. The eldest son presented rye bread. The second son brought the bread made up of barley, and Vaiko presented his white bread. The father loved all the bread loaves and decided for another test. "Now, I want each of them to weave something for me," the father said. Both the brothers knew that their beloved were good weavers. But Vaiko, on the other hand, knew that mouse can't weave. He went to the hut in the jungle. The mouse felt that he was worried. She asked the reason. The mouse immediately rang the silver bell thrice. Hundreds of mice came in and sat in front of her waiting for her order. Each of you'll get me the finest fiber of flax. Obeying her order, all the mice vanished. When they returned, they had the finest fiber of flax with them. The mouse weaved a beautiful piece of fine linen. It was so sheer that she kept it in an empty nutshell. Vaco took the nutshell with him and came home. His two brothers presented the piece woven by their sweethearts. The eldest brother got coarse cotton, which was quite okay. The second son brought a mix of cotton and linen, which was a bit better. Then, Vaco put forward the nutshell. His brothers, as always, laughed at him. Their laughter faded away as their father opened the nutshell. He brought out the finest fabric of linen. Their father loved what Vaco's bride weaved for her. "Now, you three may bring your sweethearts home. I want to meet them all." "Bring them tomorrow," said father. The mouse was overjoyed to know this. She dressed well, rang silver bell and ordered for a coach and 5 coachmen. Soon, there arrived a coach of a nutshell and 5 mice drawing it. Vaco was surprised to see this. The mouse sat in the coach with a coachman in front and footman at the back of the coach. They started their journey to Vaco's house. Vaco was walking beside the coach. Walking through the jungle, they came near a town. There was a river flowing in between. They had to cross the bridge over the river. As they were crossing it, a man came from nowhere in the opposite direction. He saw a bunch of mice coming on his way. He laughed and stooped them all into the river. Vaco was very sad for the mouse. But the man laughed loudly and went away. He looked down into the river, but he found nowhere. Saying this, Vaco turned and saw a beautiful coach standing on the other bank of the river. It was being carried by 5 glossy horses. The most beautiful girl was seated in the coach. Vaco was pleased to see the beauty of the coach. He started walking towards his home. As he came near the coach, he realized that it was the coach of the mouse. The princess told him that she was under an evil's curse. It had broken because Vaco had accepted her as her sweetheart. They continued traveling to Vaco's home. Vaco's father and his elder brothers were mesmerized to see a princess as Vaco's sweetheart. Both the brothers were jealous of him. Vaco got the princess because he was kind even to a little mouse. Vaco's father blessed them and they got married. They lived happily ever after. Here is a short visual depiction of the fairy tale short story A Little Mouse Who Was a Princess. See the story video below. Fairy tale short story video.